Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect of Israel, to you as a Shalom. All right, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the flock of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. And what I have on the screen is an antique map, all right, and it says it was first published in 1570, but this edition is from 1603. And it's called Antique Map of Tartaria by Ortelius. All right, so as we know, lands weren't always called the names they are now. Lands always go through name changes. All right, especially by Esau Edom. They love to change the names of lands to name them after themselves. That's what the scripture tells you. But what's interesting about this map, all right, this is before, the 1611 King James Bible, and it talks about, the tribes of Israel. All right, see, this map is written in Latin. You see 1603 Latin edition, and all this does is proves that these other nations know exactly who we are, man, and they always have known. All right, but things like this doesn't true men of the Lord, the elect, Lord willing, we're part of that number. They don't need things like this to prove the scriptures. The scriptures in it of itself proves the scriptures, man. We hear the word of God and we believe it, and that's all we need, man. Real men of the Lord don't need precept upon precept. That's really for edification's sake. But once it's written in the scriptures, no matter where it's written, right? That's the word. That's the word of the Lord. All right. This is Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. All right. We have evidence of the things not seen. All right, and that's why it's called faith. All right. If we needed evidence, then it wouldn't be faith. All right. But we have all the evidence we need through the word and the spirit. Other people can't just rely on the word itself. They need all these other things. They need to hear it out of the enemy's mouth in order to believe it, man. All right. Let me jump to Hebrews chapter 4. Hebrews 4:2. For unto us the gospel, Aslakia, for unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. All right? You just read it like words off a book. But we read it and we hear the voice of Yahweh Shai, man. We read it and understand that it's the word of the Lord, man. All right? But let's jump back to this map. It's a superb map showing Tartaria, Cathay, which is China, Japan, closer to America than Asia, and California. The Strait of Anian separates Asia and America, and a navigable northeastern passage is shown from Europe to Japan and China, complete with sailing ship. China itself is on the map twice, once as Marco Polo's Cathay and once as China that the Portuguese had visited by sea. All right, and let's get into some of these translations. That's just show a little intro, a little background of the map and how they got references for people that traveled the world, such as Marco Polo. All right, the map combines latest exploration by the Dutch, the Portuguese, and the Spanish with medieval knowledge. Marco Polo's Cathay, Zipengri, Falcon Island, Tangut, etc., and with knowledge from classical antiquity. All right. So the map is translated from Latin to English on this site. So it starts from the bottom left corner with copyright. It says text blocks from top to bottom, from left to right. And this is the Latin right here. I don't know if you can see it. This paragraph in the bold. I'm not allowed to highlight it. But this is the Latin, and this is what it translates to. And it says, the Nephilites are named Naphtali after one of the 10 tribes with a Hebrew name, and after the Danites, who by way of punishment were called the Danes of the Dark North. All right, why would they call Dark North? Because they were so-called black men, right? And they were on account of the claims of Rachel Balba placed on the side in the area of the Hudores or the Jehudores in the year 476. They were victorious in their battle against Perosia. Others called them incorrectly Euthalites. All right, and again, this is one of the 10 tribes, right? Just like it says in Second Esdras, all right, how the 10 tribes left their land to serve the Lord, which this map actually says. All right, so that paragraph I believe was right here. It's hard to see. It says Naphtali up here. All right, but continuing on, and it says next text block. This paragraph, nope, sorry, it's Slakia. This one here, and it says 4 Esdras 13. Well, 4 Esdras is really Second Esdras 13. And it says here the 10 tribes retreated and changed from the Tartar or Tartar area to Scythia. Since then they are called Goths or Gothans, confirming God's highest glory. And here lies the splendid kingdom of Kadai. All right, so I'll go ahead and jump over to Second Esdras, chapter 13, just for clarification and edification's sake. Second Esdras 13. Second Esdras 13 and 30. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, who Salamansar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they may keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. All right. So the 10 tribes consisted of your so-called Hispanic and Native Americans left that land and went to America, to serve the Lord, man. All right. Or left their land, they were held captive, and went to a further land to serve the Lord, man, because they weren't able to. When you're in captivity, you can't serve the Lord as the way you want to, right? Just like now, we can't serve the Lord the way we want to in this captivity. So, but we have to try to the best of our ability. All right, and but again, this map, all this map does is prove that these other nations always knew who we were, man. All right, let me jump over to Jeremiah chapter 50. Shoot. I know it's not in the bottom, Salakia. Bear with me 1 second. What? Salakia. Yeah, this is it. Jeremiah 50. I'll start at verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. And that's speaking about how we forgot we were Israelites, man. All right, and the people that we followed just led us astray. That's all because we went off. All right, verse 7. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversary said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even the Lord Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. So the people, that found us, they devoured us, put us in captivity, right? And what did they say? They say, we ain't doing anything wrong. We're basically allowed to do this because they are going off. They understand that the longer we sin, the more they are in control, man. All right, and the more wicked they could be towards us. All right, because they understand that they're used as a punishment for us. All right, they're basically our whooping stick. All right, that the Most High created, that he seeks them on us when we're going off, man. But this is the last time that'll ever happen. All right, this is the last and final captivity. Called William Bashim Al Shai. All right. Let me actually jump to back to the Apocrypha, the book of Judith, chapter 5. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this basically goes into how the enemies, the heathens, were explaining how we are the chosen people of the Most High, man. And they always knew this. I'll read through the whole thing real quick, Lord willing. Judith 5 started from the top. Then it was declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country, and had fortified all the tops of the high hills, and had laid impediments in the Champagne countries. Slovakia, which is go into this word. Champagne, open level countryside.
Champagne.
All right. So Israel's getting ready for war and fortified, the mountains and the high hills, and laid traps in the open areas, man. All right, and that's what Esau Edom do now, or other nations more likely too. I should say how they lay landmines and stuff. Those are impediments. All right, in open fields. All right, verse 2. And Jake is the former of all things. This is how they learn these things, man. These war tactics. All right. Judith 5 and 2. Wherewith he was very angry and called all the princes of Moab and the captains of Ammon and all the governors of the sea coast. And he said unto them, Tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army. So Holofernes is asking about the Israelites. Basically, give me a breakdown of who these people are, who's their leader, where they get their strength from, so on and so forth. All right. Verse 4. And why they have determined not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west. And they said, Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my word, Slakia, let my Lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. All right, so an Ammonite, so-called Japanese man, is about to break down who the Israelites are, man. Verse 6, these people are descendants of the Chaldeans, and they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshipped the power of heaven, the power whom they knew. So they cast them out of the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. All right, and that goes back into this map, man. Leaving a land to go serve your Lord, man, to flee idolatry, man. All right. Verse 9. Then their Lord Salakia, then their power commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned and go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver and with very much cattle. So he's breaking down the entire history of the Israelites. But when the famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. All right. Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with laboring in brick, and made them slaves. All right, this is talking about the exodus from Egypt. All right. How about the new Pharaoh came and he wasn't with the numbering of the Israelites, and he feared that if Egypt went to war, that the Israelites would join the other nation that they were warring against. So he dealt subtly and made them slaves. Verse 12, then they cried unto their power, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues, so the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And the Most High dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai, and Kadesh and Barn, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed their strength, all of them in Esbon, and passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Pharazite, the Jebusite, the Sychemite, and all the Girgasites, and they dwelt in that country many days. And whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hateth iniquity was with them. All right, they understand, these heathen nations understand that as long as you're not going off and sinning, the Most High, which hateth iniquity, all right, will be with us, man. All right, let me jump over to the book of Sirach. I believe it's chapter 12. I could be wrong. Sirach 12 and 10. No, Slakia. Sirach 12 and 6. For the Most High hateth sinners, and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly, and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. All right, the Most High hateth sin. And Achior understood this, man. Ammonite understood this. Judah 5 and 17. And whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hateth iniquity was with them. Verse 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now are they returned to their power, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and all at Slakia, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. They understood, heathens understood, that if we're sinning, that they could take us over, overcome us, put us into captivity, and then prosper. All right, because every nation that has the Israelites in captivity are the most powerful nation in the earth. All right, they're the most wealthiest nation in the earth. They're the most prosperous nation on earth, because they have the most valuable people on earth in their possession. All right. Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. You know, I'm going to end it right there, because that's pretty much the point. Understanding that as long as we're not sinning, we're basically going to take over this earth, man. And that's why we're going to need spiritual bodies, because as long as we're in the flesh, we're subject to go off. All right, our flesh is described chains of darkness, man. We can never escape sin fully until we under that new covenant and put into the new bodies, man. But I'm gonna wrap it up with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. Until next time, I want to say Shalom and Abad Babal.